The last one here, because it kind of touches on AI but isn't exactly about it, is Illinois' biometric privacy. It's restrictions on what employers and public people you can collect. So if we think about kind of the implications of AI in surveillance or like monitoring stores, it's being implicated by that act. But this is just a few of a lot of the examples of state legislation, and beyond just legislation, there are lots of different regulations that are being promulgated by the different states. Now, how I would break this up is I would say that Colorado is really looking at risk-based. California focused on transparency, focused on acceleration. Texas is taking a very minimalistic, hands-off approach, just banning certain things. And Illinois is working on informed consent as much as possible. And I would say what we should be doing is to synthesize best practices from all of those in order to have a durable governance. And now I do want to talk about the AI action plan. So the AI action plan released yesterday, this was titled Winning the Race, America's AI Action Plan. And it is an operational directive, like based upon that AI executive order. 23 pages, lots of policies. And I would say the biggest thing to take away from this is that it treats AI as a zero-sum game. And it wants America to win it. And it is very much focused on that. I would say that from a pure objective standpoint, 95% of what is in the AI Act or AI Action Plan is totally reasonable and valid. And then there's another 5% in there, which is questionable and is likely derived from party politics and kind of culture war topics. So if we look at the three strategic pillars, the first is accelerating innovation. And what this is designed to do is really make sure that we continue to develop and develop quickly. So it does. The action plan does take a position to encourage open source, open weight models, which would favor companies like Meta, who is already releasing Llama. But they do also say that it is the decision of the companies whether they release them or not. There is also a lot of talk about deregulating AI, making sure that agency actions that have previously happened are reviewed for alignment with this new plan. So your typical political, we're going to undo all the things that the previous people did and make it right. I would say the two odd ducks in this pillar is one line where it says that they should revise the NIST AI risk management framework to eliminate references to misinformation, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and climate change. Those are not major components of the NIST AI risk management framework. Climate change is not mentioned in it, so it's an interesting inclusion. And then there's also a section about combating synthetic media in the legal system, apparently over a concern about misinformation in that particular environment. The second pillar is really around building infrastructure. So it focuses on streamlined permitting. They want to improve the energy grid. That is going to be part not decommissioning existing power plants, and also working to roll out more geothermal and nuclear fission and fusion power plants. So fusion is included in there. But it does look like the improvements to the energy grid are really focused on those fuel-based technologies, so it is not a reversion to wanting renewable resources. They want to build military data centers to train the workforce, improve cybersecurity, a lot of things. And then in kind of that third pillar of international leadership, there is a desire to export American AI, kind of our standards and practices and technology, with a lot of the models, with the models being encouraged to be open weight. I'm not entirely sure how that happens. And it is explicitly called out that we want to counter Chinese influence or the US wants to counter Chinese influence in the AI environment. Much like many of the things, we are acting in opposition to the Chinese sphere of influence and kind of playing that political game. Three other things, and on here. They do want to continue to restrict AI compute going to foreign adversaries. There is a desire to evaluate the frontier risks of these models at the federal level, because if we have the best models, their logic is that we will see frontier risks before any other country does and be able to defend against them or exploit them, which is honestly interesting logic. I hadn't heard it laid out. Like we'll have the technology in advance of other people so we can use it first and defend it first. And then the last one is investing in biosecurity. I will say my favorite part of this plan is they want to create a whole genome sequencing data set where they just sequence life forms and plants and everything from all over the federal land and provide that as a free data set for researchers who want to train biological models. So I think that'd be really cool. And I really wonder who got that one included. Now, if moving on from like the breaking news, I want to look at some of the enforcement reality, things that have happened in the past around AI. So one of them is FTC's Operation AI Comply. To the best of my knowledge, this is continuing to go on. And what their whole thing is that any company which is misusing AI or using AI for deception, they were going to force to comply under Section 5 of the FTC Act for unfair or deceptive practices. So their whole kind of raison d'etre there is that AI deployment doesn't create a legal immunity from traditional consumer protection laws. You still have to work within them.